How you doing, guys? Kevin. We're back with another project. We got a gentleman got a outside wood burner, and he wants to put some heat in his garage. And he said it was pretty expensive to buy this whole box all put together. So he went and bought the radiator, and I thought he said he paid around $100 and some for the radiator. But altogether, it might have been around 400 or more. I'm not sure. And I'm actually I'm not real sure what this thing's called, but anyhow, I'm going to give you guys, let you watch me build the box that we're going to put this radiator in, and it's going to be on track so you can hang it from the ceiling. And then out here in the front, we're going to throw a couple pieces of ductwork so he'll be able to pipe his heat wherever he wants to in his garage. So, hey, stay tuned. Let's see what happens to this thing. You know, I like to build stuff out of scrap, so that's basically what we're going to build this box out of, all scrap metal that somebody's either thrown away or give me. So we may end up having to buy a piece of metal, maybe some sheet metal. I don't have much real thin metal, but we'll do our best to try to use all old materials. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I want to measure out how far I want this track, or the framework for this thing to set on. And I come back here behind the blower probably 3 inches because I do want to bolt the blower down. So we come back here, and I left a few inches in front of the blower, and I had planned on probably about 34 inches. So that's actually a pretty good sized box. I'm talking 34 inches, and the radiator is about 22, just a radiator, but we're gonna cover this up too. He said something about insulating this, so we don't want to insulate it. We'll be able to put the metal down through here and be able to hold that heat that's inside, all inside this box. We'll keep it inside. The more heat in there, probably the better we are. So let's get to cutting some old bed rails up. Okay, what we want to do here is we want to leave about 1.5 inches of space right here, and then we'll drill a hole right here. And that'll be what hangs it from the ceiling. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a 4-inch grinder, and we're going to cut this, and then we're going to cut this here. So when we set it down on there, we got a nice flush fit down in there. So and then we can weld this all back in. We'll weld everything back in, that way it's a good solid fit, and it'll be nice and flush on the bottom. Okay, anytime you guys are working with this metal, you want to make sure it's good and clean for your welds, especially a weld like this, because this is going to be hanging from the ceiling. So this is basically what we're going to have to do with each one of them. We'll cut each corner, and we'll notch them out, and we'll grind everything down and get them ready for weld. We'll drill our holes first, that way we ain't got to stick this whole thing in the drill press. We can just set it up in the drill press, get our holes drilled, and be done with that part. So there's a little bit of work in it, but you know, if you want something good quality, something nice, you got to build it yourself and make sure that it's done right. Okay, we got these all prepped, and they're about ready to go here. What I did is I put a piece of just a nice square up in this corner to make sure my box is going to be good and square, and clamped it down to the table. I mean, we got to have it square, and it's got to be sitting in there pretty good. And I noticed I got a little goof up here, but I got to bring this down. It's got to be 1.25 inches or 1.5 inches in. I left 1.5 inches out here to bolt this thing down for these hangers. So what I do is I just square it up on my bench and then clamp it down, and I can't be wrong then. It should be good and square. And it's nothing like getting a box and it's not square. So I think we're good there. We're at 1.5 inches. We got our holes. He wanted 3/8 holes. So I went to, you know, I went a couple sizes bigger on that and drilled a couple sizes bigger so I make sure he can get his bolt down through there, you know, his hanger bolt. So all we're going to do now is get these things welded up, and they're all prepped. All four corners are prepped. We'll get them squared up and we'll get them welded. Okay, you guys, we got all the corners welded. They were all ground down, cleaned up, and they're not cleaned up now, but we got them all welded. And now we're working on setting this blower in here. Now, I wanted something pretty sturdy to hold this blower in. I mean, it's heavy. It's not a light, you know, piece of machinery. It's pretty heavy. So we're going to put a piece of angle up here, and then our radiator is going to set right inside of here. And then we're going to build a box over this thing. So we'll be able to hook our we'll be able to hook our plumbing up on this side, and we'll have a couple ductworks over here, or one ductwork, whatever he chooses to have. We'll let him put the ductwork in. But we'll have a box up here, so this air is going to flow through the radiator and out the other side. But now, as you can see, there's some holes in this metal here. We don't care about that. It's inside. It's not even going to hurt anything. We just got to make sure it's strong enough to hold it up in the air. So that's what we're working on now. And as you can see, this is an old blower. We salvaged this blower out of an old furnace. And you guys, you see them throwing away them old furnaces. Pull them blowers out because they're still good. If you don't want to use it on something like this, you can put it in the corner of your garage and just use it for a fan, because they really blow a lot of air. So we're going to go ahead and get this piece welded in. We got it fitted in there nice. We're going to grind everything and get this thing welded in. As you can see, we got the blower setting right where we want it now. Now we're going to work on getting this radiator set in here, and we have to make sure this radiator could be taken out. Because for one thing, if something ever happens to it and we need to work on it, we need to get it out. Or if we need to replace it, we need to be able to get it out so we can replace it. So I'm going to cut a couple pieces of angle for the bottom and set it up on there. And then I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to put the metal on the outside of this thing to make it, got to be a box because we need to keep the air in. So right now I'm going to go ahead and get a couple pieces measured out to put underneath this radiator to hold the radiator up and to kind of hold it into place. Okay, I thought I'd give you a little closer up at what I'm doing down in here. And that's the track our radiator is going to sit in. Now we had to put a little piece right here to hold this side of the radiator, because we wanted the radiator to go out so all the plumbing's inside. So I had to put another strap underneath here, but it doesn't stick down any lower than what the bottom is. And then we just welded them all on the outside because we don't want nothing to interfere with that radiator when we slide it down in there. What we're going to do now is we're going to put the radiator down in there, and it should be pretty tight in there, so because we don't want it to move around. And it is pretty snug in there. So it's held up there pretty daggone good. And our plumbing is just going to stay to the inside of this plate that's going to cover this edge. So it actually looks pretty nice here. You know, we might have to square it up, but I think overall it's going to turn out pretty nice. Alright, we put some paint on this thing, a little bit of paint just to cover up the welds and all the nasty looking colors to it. It looks pretty good. It's totally made out of recycled metal. All this metal was bed frames, bed rails, stuff that people had thrown away. So there's not a lot of money in it. There's more time than there is money so far. As you can see, it's looking pretty good. I mean, I think this thing's going to turn out nice. I have this plate here. I need this plate. Each plate's going to be put on here like a box. I'm not going to, I may overlap the top here so I don't have an air leak along here. But it has to be able to come apart, because in order to service this or clean it, we need to be able to get access to the inside of it or replace it as far as that goes. So we'll just lay us a piece of metal here, we'll go all the way around it and we'll build our box. And then we'll put our ductwork piece right in there and should be ready to go. Looking nice. Okay, we're going to get to building the outside of this heat exchanger. We're going to start putting our plates on the outside. We actually got some new steel here. The gentleman that I'm building it for went and picked me up a couple nice sheets of 16th inch steel. We're going to cut it out. I got a new tool. We got a plasma cutter here. It's a Hobart forced air 250 CI. It's only run off of 110 or 115 volts. So we're going to see how it works. I really haven't never used one much. Well, I've used one time. So we're going to cut his steel out with it, see how it works, get this thing finished up so we can get it put up and get some heat in the garage. Alright guys, so I didn't have a piece of angle iron, but I found a piece of square stock, and if any time you can run that thing straight through, that's what you want to do. So I got it lined up there. Now you have to bear with me. You guys are going to get to see me screw up, I'm sure, because I never really used a plasma cutter before. So we're going to give it a shot and see what we can do. Hopefully this thing will work out pretty good. Here we go. Alright, for the first cut, I think it looks pretty nice. Now I don't know if I went too fast, too slow, or what, you know, but that was the first cut I really ever made with the plasma cutter, and it seemed like it did pretty good. So we're going to finish getting measured out each piece we need, and we're going to start cutting them out and get them put on. What we did here is we took the piece that we cut off, we measured our bottom, we put it in our brake, and we bent it right there. Now we're going to cut it off. This is going to make the front and the bottom, so it'll be one piece. So we're going to go ahead and cut this off here. As you can see, it does a pretty nice straight line cut, and of course with the straight edge clamped on there, it makes it a lot easier for me. My hands are not really steady, so something like this to guide me makes it a lot easier. Alright, what we're doing now is we're going to put 3 pipes on here on this heat exchanger, so they can run some duct work off of it. So we got our circles all marked out. I'm going to put 3 of these in here, and we're just going to cut them out. I don't think you can see them with the camera very good, but there's 3 of these circles already marked out where we're going to cut them out. So we'll just cut these 3 circles out, and then we'll mount these pieces here in. Okay, as you can see, we got 3 6-inch pieces of pipe here. Now he'll be able to run 3 pieces of ductwork off of this. Probably could even run more if he wanted, just put some T's on it. But this is actually a pretty decent sized unit. It's going in a garage, so and I do believe he's going to insulate this. I probably won't be the one insulating it, but I'm just basically building the heat exchanger itself. Okay. Alright, since you guys have been gone there, we got the front on and we got the pipes put in, which turned out pretty nice, and we got the side over here cut. We're going to put us a filter in here. So we got a small 1-inch track going across there, and I don't know exactly how I'm going to work this, but I thought about actually maybe putting a couple rods through there to keep it, just to hold it up in place. But I don't know how much it's going to need to hold it into place. I don't think it's going to take very much for that filter. So we got the holes cut out for this. We try not to let anything touch too much, you know. We don't want it to touch the copper tubing or anything, because it may, with the vibration of the motor, may end up rubbing a hole in that copper. So what I'm doing now is I'm working on the top piece here. I got it actually bent. It's cut. Okay, now we're gonna put a couple plates on one side, one on the other side of the heat exchanger. That way the heat exchanger is not moving around in there too much. It's actually really tight in there now, but we're gonna try to get it in there a little tighter. We'll put one piece of angle on this side, one piece here. I have the piece cut for the top already and bent. It's 16th inch steel, and my brake is not really that heavy of a brake, but it bent it okay. What we'll do is we'll drill through the side of this and put us a couple bolts in here, but I'll also go underneath of here. I'll mark this, and then I'll put us a couple pieces of angle there, just so our heat exchanger is not moving around in there. As long as it don't touch the radiator itself, we're in good shape. Okay, the heat exchanger is coming along pretty good. We're going to get ready to mount the motor up. I'll probably take a break tonight, and tomorrow we'll get the motor mounted up on there. And then I have some aluminum tape. We're going to put some aluminum tape over all the sides and just give it a coat of paint there to make it look pretty decent. But it's coming along pretty nice. We actually turned the blower on, and it blows good air. It blows really nice air out the front. So this heat exchanger should work out pretty good. Alright, the filter we put in this thing is a filter that you can cut and make it any size you want. And I put it back in there. I know it's going to be a little tight getting in and out of there, but it's got a filter on it. Now, I turned the blower on and filled all the air right in here, and I know I got a little bit around these tubes, but I didn't want them tubes to touch anything. So I cut me a piece of steel here, and I thought what I'd do is I'd take some self-tapper screws and I'd screw that right over there. So if he wanted to get this filter out, he could just take the screws back out of it and then have access to his filter. But it'll still hold back some of the air to keep it going flowing out the front and not out that side. So that's what I'm working on next. As you can see, everything's coming together pretty good. It's almost ready to go. We'll put our aluminum tape on here and give it a shot of black paint, heat resistant paint, and hopefully we'll have us a nice heat exchanger. Alright, as you can see, this cover worked out pretty good. I know it's not going to completely seal it, but I do believe he's going to insulate this thing, so hopefully, you know, he'll probably cover this up anyhow. He wants to keep the box as warm as he can. So we got the blower, it's hooked on a plug-in, and we got a lot of air. See, I ain't got the air that I had before. I'm getting some out around these holes, but I'm sure he can put some insulation around these holes to keep that air flowing straight through. Alright, we got all of our tape on here. We just wanted to seal up all the cracks we can so we can have more airflow through the 6-inch pipes up in front. So we're looking pretty good. We're getting ready to shoot it with a coat of paint. I got a little bit of heat resistant paint, put it on there, and always looks better when it's all one color. So hang in there and we'll have her done here in just a few minutes. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a little demonstration on about how much air this thing's going to push through it. So we have a filter in there, so it's going through the filter fine. I actually cut the filter to fit the whole entire radiator. This filter is going to be a little tough getting in and out, but it's definitely going to filter the air. So let me plug this thing in and show you just how much air we have coming out the front. I put a piece of paper in the front there and a little clip. As you can see, it's going to have plenty of air, and that's the same amount coming out of all 3 of these holes. So you shouldn't have any problems getting enough air to flow through the garage he's putting this in. Alright, you can see the radiator in there, the heater core, the heat exchanger is inside there. And just want to give you guys a look around on it. I just put a little bit of paint on it. I mean, it doesn't got to be perfect. I just want it one color. There's where you're going to connect your water up to. Underneath of this right here is your filter. And then you got your blower back here. Not much to it. Now he'll wire this up to a thermostat, so it'll come on and off as the building needs the heat. And it does have some air. I hope you guys enjoyed my video on the heat exchanger. You know, when I first started building this thing, to be honest with you, I didn't even know the name of this thing. I really didn't. So people will ask me to build stuff. As long as they tell me what they want, I can build it. But we do know it's a heat exchanger, and we know it's going to work. That's all there is to it. It's going to work fine. And like I said, I want to tell everybody thanks for watching my video. And don't forget to subscribe or leave me thumbs up, thumbs down, or leave me a message. And till next time.